What's up, everybody? This is Edward back with another video. Oh yeah, I know what I'm about to get. Um, this is Edward back with another video. Anyway, I don't need to do the shout outs. I'm about to just jump right into it. So here's the deal. I had an epiphany. So I was listening to not O'Shea, Obsidian's video with her name, I guess, is Auntie Wanda. And the title may sound clickbaity, but I'm dead serious with the title. And I had to put me in there because I'm one of the main ones that does this. This is not a declaration that I'm gonna stop doing it, but it is a declaration I'm gonna definitely think about really the impact of this and really just I don't know. Shout out to King Sigma though, because Sigma kind of when Sigma came on last, he was talking about how he kind of moved on, basically moved on from dealing with women because at the end of the day they're not gonna change. Also, shout out to BGS because BGS did a little 10-minute video talking about how black women are hard headed and they are not going to change because this is who they are. And you're either going to accept who they are or not deal with it. At least the women that basically occupy this, when what I call basically their toxicity, they occupy this, within a certain level of parameters as far as this issue, right? And the thing that black men have not done, and I'm going to just cut right to the chase, is black men, and this is something I'm very guilty of for the most part, is the wall of silence. Shout out Solon Black as well, because he always talks that. I heard that from him more than anybody. The wall of silence, and Solon Black did an add-on as far as BGS's video too, so check him out, Soul, and then letter N, and then Black. But the wall of silence. The reality of the situation is, man, our women are not going to change. They're going to get worse, actually. And here's the thing: some of them will come back to the table because that's what they need to do, but at the end of the day, they're not really changing. And that's what people are not really, they're not going to change. They're just going to put on a mask temporarily. And whatever the changes are going on in the country and the world are so fast that you're not going to see really changes happen where one generation is going to actually switch because they're going to see another generation. I mean, you already kind of low key see that. The old hoes are just being old hoes until death do they part, literally. As long as somebody's putting a dick in them, they're going to be doing what they do. And that's just real fucking talk. These chicks are going to go into their 60s hoeing. The OnlyFans shit is doubling, tripling, quadrupling down, where more and more of these women being a hoe is empowerment. And I know most women think that because most women will sit here and say, I'm talking about, will sit here and say hoes are winning. They even have degrees and shit. Everything is a mean to an end. And it does not really have to do with building. It has everything to do with playing for keeps. Right? So one of the things that black men have not done, and I am definitely guilty of this, is the wall of silence. The truth is, our women, one of the biggest reasons why black women they don't respect black men like men anyway, but from a tactical standpoint, is black men always demonstrate, for the most part, that they're willing to hear black women out, even when they talking dumb shit. I'm guilty of that. Even when I know the dumb shit is coming. And then B, we actually engage with them as if the shit they saying is even worth engaging with. Now, a lot of y'all, shout out to Silent Lamont, shout out to Smooth, because they're definitely some of the two that really harp on this. And I'm not going to act like, oh, this is some new shit. There ain't nobody said it before. Not going to say that, because it's not. But the reality is, it's not so much me now, oh, well, women don't need to be in the sphere. This is beyond women not needing to be in the sphere. The reality is, if women are talking stupid, or they're not saying anything that like has any value to you, then quite frankly, they shouldn't even be allowed to speak to you. Because at the end of the day, they're just wasting your time. They're just sucking up your time. And time is one of the most valuable resources because you only have that once. Now, obviously, this is easier said than done because a lot of niggas, black men in particular, do not believe, they believe in tricking off time for female presence. Meaning they don't actually value their time at all for the most part. And that's a big reason why when you look at their time compared to a women that look, not even like good looking women, but even ugly women, even fat women, engaging with them. Shout out Xanatos Clutch has been another one that's been harping on this too. So I see you. We don't think like that. Now, obviously, I do, and I have different reasons why I engage in this stuff. But the point is, I still do it. So I'm not going to absolve myself. Really, listening to Obsidian and Auntie Wanda, I heard that bullshit for like 15 minutes. I'm gonna tell you right now, and she was just playing the denial game. She was just acting like the shit doesn't happen. And the thought that I had literally within like the first 3 minutes of her doing that bullshit is, so why are we having a conversation? Okay, black women are doing good. We're just, this shit's not real. And then well, nothing to talk about. Y'all are doing great. So I'll pray that your success stays successful and you have such a wonderful day. It click. Because when I'm prospecting, I don't deal with that shit. I get right to the point. I probe, question past the bullshit, and if they want to act like they don't want to engage, I remove them from the conversation and move to the next one and forgot about them just as fast as I hung up on them. Letting go is a skill that a lot of people don't think about. And even when they're not saying it, even when I can feel it because I'm active listening, I don't deal with it. That's why a lot of times when I want to, I can get to the point really quick. And when I want to, I can ask questions that really basically put you in a box as to, okay, it's either this or this. And what we have to understand is our women value attention. And the one thing that I've seen that has been effective, one of the few things, is when black men just completely just remove from the table and just start doing shit. The women don't necessarily change, but you can definitely tell that fucking bothers them. They start bitching a lot harder. They start rattling the bell a lot harder because it does bother them. And the truth is, and this is not a tactic, because I know people like Clutch do not believe in doing this shit for tactics, for them to come back or any of that bullshit. And there's other people that occupy that space. Make sure y'all get the likes up. But the truth, but the absolute facts of the matter is, if you're dealing with a female and she's not talking like it's not about agreeing, but if she's not talking like she's got some fucking sense, then at that point, it's no point having the conversation. Now, women are going to present that as being insecure and you can't deal with a female's opinion. But the problem is their opinions are all predicated on shit that they believe makes fucking sense when it makes no fucking sense. And men have been trained to, just because they're a bitch with a pussy, to basically deal with that shit. Even if you're not necessarily dealing with a female with trying to fuck them. Because at least there's an intended outcome that you have. So I want to keep this quick. And I just want to say, you know, if a chick is playing the denial game, if a chick is like, she knows what the fuck she's doing, that conversation needs to be fucking ended. And if they can feel however they want to feel, they have a right to feel disrespected. They have a right to feel anything. But the reality is, this bullshit where females are coming on here and they're saying the same shit. In the manosphere, we've heard the same story. Ain't none of them saying anything that hasn't been said before. They're all coming with the same shit over and over and over and over and over again. So it really needs to be like, oh, this is going. There's no point having a conversation. There's no point. The women, we're now at a point in a manosphere where enough women are willing to tell the truth about how they operate, where it's no need for us to talk to women for a whole long period of time in order to get them to tell themselves. Too many women are starting to do that in broad stroke social media anyway. I belong to the streets. I don't want to be married. I want a baby, but I don't want to be married. Like shit like that. So there's no point in needing to get them to say it on the record. All you have to do is just let them be out there, and they're just going to do it more and more. And the funny thing is, the shit's accelerating. So that's the main thing I wanted to say, you know. And another thing I'm going to say too, No, I'm good. I'm not talking. I had to mute it. But no, I got you, Clutch. But like I said before, and now you're gonna really look. I'm not obviously the environment is the environment, but you're gonna start to see my focus change a little bit because. And that's not to say that, oh man, I'm not gonna talk to women, but I'm definitely not gonna be don't need no motherfuckers to tell me the gynocracy exists or for them to admit it. I mean, you got and shout out to Dennis Sperling too, because he just put a video out, obviously showing he approves of what Kevin's doing. As a guy that's a millionaire that has been through divorce, that has got control of his kids, that has got control of his situation. There's a lot of dudes like that. That a lot of people don't realize that most dudes are not gonna. Kevin said it. Most dudes are not going to get up there and say what they think. Yeah, most dudes they're not gonna do that. But that doesn't mean they don't appreciate that. Why you think Kevin gets the super chats he gets? Those are dudes super chatting. It's because somebody needs to be the representative. Somebody needs to go to the Congress and say what the fuck it is. It's not everybody's job to do that. And the thing about it is, my thing is, it's time. Like, I'm really gonna start changing my focus to just putting folks in a position, people to listen to me and stuff, taking information I know and redirecting it in a way that can actually have people have better outcomes. The talk has happened. It is what it is. But at the end of the day, it's time for like really the manosphere. I'm not saying if you got people like Obsidian and them want to have interactions with females, that I'm not saying that's not a bad thing. Somebody's got to do it. But what I'm saying is everybody doing it, that shit's over. It's really like this. If black women ain't doing what the fuck you want them to do, you need to deal with who the fuck you need to deal with. This is not about hating on black women. This is about maximizing your power of leverage. Because the thing is, and see, here's the thing. What's the difference between me saying that and like a Chrissy or a Paris Milan saying that? The difference between me saying that and them saying that is, number one, their ability to do it is not there. Like, they like to talk shit, so they're just running their mouth. Just like with April Mason want to play the swirl game, even if she's able to play the swirl game, which I doubt it. A lot of them dudes are dudes that are quote unquote past their prime anyway, and they know they can get a decent black woman. But the women that follow her are not able to do that to the extent that she could, assuming she could. So it's not about being mad at anybody. Like, remember what I told you all. It's just business. You're either gonna do it or you're not. It's not about, oh, I'm mad at you, you betrayed me, I'm angry. This is the difference between red pill rage and actually being red pill minded. If you don't do it, somebody else will. Remember what the women used to say about video models? I don't want to shake my ass, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. If there's a whole bunch of women that's willing to be in your position, and they will do it, and they will do it for less money. So you got a choice. I'm not making you do nothing. It's the same thing there. And as a man, it's your ability to build up your ability to where you're in that position. This is why I don't necessarily agree with Obsidian talking about the non-select guy. No man should strive to be non-select. That's not to say that you base you being select based on what women think. But at the same time, you need to maximize your abilities mentally, emotionally, spiritually, economically, as well as physically, and use that. It's really about dudes being ruthless. That's really at the end of the day with black men. And it's not about being ruthless from an anger standpoint. One of the dudes, his name is white dude by the name of Jeffrey Combs. He talks about this thing called relaxed intensity. And he used to be a very, very intense guy. He still is, to be honest with you. But he learned how to create what's called a relaxed intensity. And what he didn't create it, I think somebody told it to him, but he mastered it. And it's kind of the same thing with ruthlessness. When you're a business dude, when people say it's good business, that is a crossing the line, in my opinion. But for the most part, people know the law of people going to do what's in their best interest. And at any point, if you're no longer in your best, and now also you got to understand the law of keeping long-term good relationships. So if you sit there and you're burning bridges all the fucking time, you're not eventually going to run out of bridges to burn. People forget that. Nick Cannon's a perfect example of that. But um, the reality, and by the way, Xanatos, I know if you listen to Glenn and Cameron speaking your language on a lot of stuff. That's why I tell you all to listen to Glenn and Cameron, because especially now that he's starting to go in a little bit on the black culture shit, as well as the other business stuff that he's doing, because really he's attacking that from a mindset perspective. You know, a lot of what I'm saying is definitely in alignment with what he's saying. Like, dude, obviously I believe in working with black men. I believe in working with black people. But by no means, and I've said this a long time ago, I will never allow myself to be impoverished because I'm dealing with motherfuckers that want to be on some bullshit. That's just not going to happen. It's always something that's in my mindscape, but it's never something that's like I'm about to sacrifice my shit for something else on some poverty nobility shit. And quite frankly, the truth is, black women have been on going their own way for decades now. And I've said this before. And black men have been the ones trying to save shit. And the women that even the women that try to be in line with trying to save shit, at the end of the day, they're trying to preserve a matriarchy. This is why they always want to blame the government. They don't ever acknowledge what the fuck they did. Even when you listen to Danica, I listened to a clip of her and Jessica X, and Danica tried to sell this idea that it was the government. They want to keep us apart. No, it's not. No, they have not been able to keep black people apart until black women decided to basically jump ship. And they didn't jump ship because they were getting their ass beat. They didn't jump ship because any of that bullshit. I can argue that technically from a happiness standpoint, black women are probably a lot less happy today than they probably were before before 19, let's say 60. In the law averages. They may have a better quality of life because obviously technology, and you can even debate that a little bit. Well, I won't debate that. They do. But when you look at the statistics, but the point is, it's not about being angry with black women. It's just like, look, you're either going to do this or you're not. I know what I'm asking for is reasonable. And here's the thing. This doesn't mean that all black women, I'm not fucking with. This just means, I'm talking more from the manosphere perspective. It's like, oh, well, you all date non-black women. It's just business. I want to fuck. They're willing to fuck. I want a woman that acts like a woman. They're willing to act like it. Well, you just want to do that because you want something light. Even if that's true, are you gonna outcompete them so you become the best option? Well, I don't have. Well, then what are we talking about? Well, why are you here? Are you here because you want to say that I'm the reason you do what the fuck you do? Okay, it's everything's black men's fault. Everything that black women do is because black men. You're welcome. Because that ain't gonna change shit. Saying that shit on the talk shows, saying that shit for decades, that ain't changed black men. Black men fuck with black women less than they did then. You all, ain't nobody else fucking with you all more. Not nobody of value. You all are one bitching. Outside of manosphere, you don't see black men bitching like that. And manosphere ain't even bitching. But even if you want to call it that, you don't see that. In the manosphere relatively small. Dudes are just doing them. That's all they're doing. You don't see these millennials out here wilding out. They just doing them. And when you ask them why they doing them, BGS said it. He said like a 12-year-old said, I don't like the black girls because they turn their neck up like, I guess her mom or something. And he was saying it's just business. They don't know how to be nice. Well, black women know there's no explanation. There's no, just like you explaining why you robbed me. Well, my brother, this is no. There's no explanation. I don't like it. If you keep doing it, that's it. That's it. You don't explain behavior that I don't like. If somebody doesn't like the behavior, I don't like to change the behavior. And there is no if you don't change the behavior. It's you come back to me when you might demonstrate that behavior's changed, and maybe I'll hear you out. Maybe. There's no, well, I stick around hoping you change the behavior. Where you look at this is what dudes want people to do when they talk about getting married. They want you to try it out. You can't knock it till you try it. That's how niggas act when it comes to marriage. I'm like, no, motherfucker, that's not how marriage ain't something. This ain't like you go to prison and come out and then you real no. What is it with black people that they think black men are supposed to go through a fucked up situation and then we gotta overcome situation and have some credibility? To me, marriage is not that much different than prison. Oh, a nigga can't be respected until he gets married to a black woman. And even them niggas are not respected. Because if they start hopping the fence after they get married, now they look the same coon. They look at the same as niggas that always hop the fence. So the point is, black again, I'm gonna bring this back. Black men have to start saying it's just business. A big part of why we even entertain women to the extent that we do is because we feel like we have to justify what the fuck we do. And on that one hand, we're operating from a guilt standpoint. But what they're doing is they're operating from this is a pole that I'm about to lick standpoint. Meaning they have a CIA spy like agenda that they know everything they say is bullshit and it's a lie. This is why I got so fucking pissed off, animated with Danielle, and you know she I guess she was upset. But this is why I got animated with that, because I'm fucking tired of y'all constantly trying to slide in the bullshit. Like, and I really had an epiphany that like people keep doing that because they really believe that us engaging with them is just a SOS signal that consciously we're saying that we're done with the shit, but subconsciously we're communicating. At least they think we're communicating that we're still open, we're still here. That's how you're still here though. And I don't need somebody to tell me that outright for me to realize, well, you're still here. If you weren't still here talking about women, then you wouldn't care anymore. But you're still here. And that's one thing that a lot of dudes need to start realizing. And even though outside the manosphere, for the most part, dudes are not still here. Dudes are bouncing. You see it with the millennials. You see it with the high value men. This is why motherfuckers are looking goofy. They calling the Kevin shit. Because they talk about the dudes they dealing with, they're fucking lying. They may brush elbows with these dudes, but they not in real relationships with these motherfuckers. Not the ones that's making the kind of money they are. Because if a nigga like, unless you in California and New York or DC, and even in a lot of these areas, the hop in the fence is high. Unless if you in the top 10% or 20% of income earners as a man, you know that shit. There's no nigga. These niggas are not bargain basement shopping because they don't have to. Because if sisters can't see the value, then other women are gonna see the value. These women may not be sevens, eights, nines, and tens, but a white bitch that's a six that knows how to fucking act. And you gotta remember, a white bitch that's a bigger. You gotta remember, white men like skinny white bitches. So a white bitch that's a pog is automatically gonna be a 6 or a 5 to most white men because most white men don't like that. But to a black man, that's nothing but a black female built with normal weight. You see what I'm saying? So, so at the end of the day, and this is not me saying all y'all hop the fence. This is about me saying be ruthless about what you do. Appreciate Marathon, man. Got that David Shea book. Appreciate that, man. Hey, and let me know. Let the folks know what you think about it. Because obviously I can say it's. And here's the thing. The book is not revolutionary, but that book, look at when that book was first written. And you'll see that a lot of this stuff was said like before that shit was written like in the early 2000s. So a lot of the stuff that the manosphere is built on when it comes to red pill, it just lets you know that shit existed before then. I'm not saying we bit off of anybody. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is it's a really good book to give to somebody that is not necessarily like they're open to it, but they don't want to get like just drugged to the 10-foot pole. So I'm definitely interested in what you got to say. I mute my phone if there's something I'm trying to do. Shout out to Do It. Amen Ra. Always compete to match your gifts in this world. Then your options will manifest. Absolutely. And this is part of what these dudes mean when they talk about, your purpose. But because dude, don't be on your purpose with expectations for females to just magically hop up. Because when you got that, you still operating on some bullshit. But my point is this. My main point is this. Number one, black men, and here's the thing, this is not about me commenting on like Jessica X or anything like that. One thing that y'all know about me is if a female's talking like she got some fucking sense, I speak to what people say. I don't speak to who people are. That's the thing. I speak to what they say. So obviously, if a woman is talking a message that like she has some sense, I'm gonna speak to that. Now, I understand promoting and people doing stuff for their own ends and shit like that. I understand that. I know a lot of people feel certain type of way about Danica. The reality is Danica got 70 subscribers. She don't need a manosphere for shit, really. That's just facts. So let's stop acting like we're boosting her or anything like that, because she's already there. She didn't come here from zero and got there, so that doesn't count. Like I told you, she has a Facebook audience. But at the end of the day, even with her, like, she can say the shit that needs to be said. Okay, that's fine. But the reality is the value that some women find in that is that keeps dudes here. And it's like, look, dudes need to stop having that. Well, I get tired of hearing black men act like really buy into the fact that we do shit to make black women act the way they do. I get tired of that. Black women don't do nothing based on what black men want. That's a lie. Everything that they do is because they fucking want to do it. Period. Period. I don't want to hear that I get more male attention because I get fat. Well then, bitch, why are you even wanting that type of male attention anyway? Why can't you be happy with one dude? Because even when you say, well, I want male attention. So basically you want to be, that's code for I want to belong to the streets. That's code for why motherfuckers are being feminists. They want to talk about their self-esteem really comes from how many men holler at the same time niggas are cat calling. I don't want to hear none of that no more. I'm done with that. I've been in this shit for years, basically analyzing what y'all say. And really it comes back to 95% of what black women say, it comes out of their mouth is just grade A bullshit. And when I say bullshit, what I specifically mean is they know when they're saying it that they're full of shit. They know what they're saying is a lie, but they still say it for an agenda to try to control the sexual back and forth politics. And what a lot of dudes do is they get like Ramil pumping up. They just they get mercenary about it. They're like, I'm doing what I'm doing. I don't care the morality about it. Now, am I saying everybody should go 100% that way? Not necessarily, but everybody needs, like, I'm going to keep it real with you. As a black man, you need to have a certain amount of misogyny in you. A certain amount of misogyny is healthy. A certain amount. And I would argue a good amount. You really do. Because these women today are not on the level from a wisdom, common sense standpoint that they were 20, 30, 40 years ago. They don't have to be. They are operating like children. And you should treat them like that. Whether they want to like it or not. Because you don't have to be around women. Women need our attention a hell of a lot more than we really need theirs. The only thing we need is to fuck them. That's it. And some do, oh, hell, well, nigga, you talking some gay shit. No, men are not supposed to have this need to just be around women without an agenda. That's how you wind up in the fucking friend zone and you fucking wind up getting cucked. I'm not saying to be around dudes all the time either. I'm saying that men are perfectly fine with solitude and being alone. So if you're dealing, and here's the thing, I have no problem with dealing with women, obviously, but the issue is you don't sit there and slit your wrist or be nails in the chalkboard to be around women. So if you're around women that are toxic, that they're basically costing you money, costing you time, they're not contributing jack shit to anything you're trying to do. There is no nobility in being around a female. Like for instance, take one of these. I'll give you a perfect example. You know these moist ass niggas. You know these niggas either in Atlanta or on the radio that they sound like you can't tell if they just ain't came out of the closet yet, but they say they heterosexual. You know the types on the radio. There's always it's like they have like absorbed too much feminine energy, female language, not only in what they say, but even their tonality and how they say, even in the mannerisms you can hear through the radio, right? Right? If you one of those niggas and you around nothing but eights, nines, and tens, eights, nines, and tens, but you ain't fucking none of them, what's the value of that? You ain't fucking none of them, and you ain't even making money with them. Meaning like their 8, 9, or 10 is not even attracting money to you vis-a-vis thirst. What's the point? At least if you're a photographer, you can say, okay, I'm getting paid off of that, even if I'm not fucking. Most likely you are fucking. You see what I'm saying? And you got dudes that will actually sell you that there's value in that just to be around them. To just be in proximity of women, there's value. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. And what happens is, this is why black men don't value their time. This is why black men go on send-off missions. Forever send-off missions. Because they don't know, a lot of brothers don't know who they are without a bitch. They just don't. And they have never even considered that. Anyway, like I said, I didn't want to make this too long. Appreciate Denzel Lee. At the end of the day, men have the leverage. So if the streets want to be, yeah, but at the same, but dudes have to understand that there's certain things that you have to unlock about yourself in order to get that leverage. If you play the game as the game is presented, if you play Monopoly as Monopoly is presented, you will lose. Nick Mel said pump and dump. Nick Mel said pump and dump with 50% STD rate. Well, first of all, the 50% STD rate is with black women. That's number one. That's with ADOS black women in America. That's number one. So there. Number two is you getting married to one woman. Okay, what about the FTD rate? The financially transmitted disease rate. So again, niggas talk pump and dumping. You can pump and dump with a condom. And by the way, pumping and dumping doesn't mean you fuck any dirty bitch you meet. There's a quality of pumping it. What are you talking about? Like, you act like pumping and dumping mean you just pull off any dirty bitch from a prostitute or any chick with a $200, $300 body count. Come on, man. Stop. Don't say that shit. But you hear pump and dump and then folks are triggered. Oh, pump and dump. Because you think non-black men don't pump and dump black women? So stop it. I'm still here. The middle class is already done. The prediction is America will look like Brazil. You will have the top 10%, you'll have everybody else. You'll have the top 20%, you'll have everybody else. That's my prediction. And I've been saying that for a while now. If you have something like UBI, it ain't going to look like what people think it's going to look like. But anyway, appreciate y'all. I got to hop off. So with that being said, this is Edward signing off. Peace.